The latest development in Maple Grove will bring hundreds of jobs to the doorstep of the city. Rusty Ray spoke with city planners about the so-called Project Libre and its mystery tenant.
We have tree removal going on here, and it was a little bit of a challenge just because of the unique shape of it.
These 30 acres at the corner of 169 and 694 offer the city a significant opportunity.
You see a wetland right here. That's going to stay in place, and so that's part of the Shingle Creek watershed, important to kind of Shingle Creek that kind of comes through under the freeway and the lakes over there. So that's going to stay, and the building's going to be designed sort of around the wetland, so it's going to be very attractive.
Maple Grove Community Development Director Joe Hogaboom said the goal was to find a tenant that could help transform the area.
5 to 10 years from now, this will look completely different, filled with businesses here. It's very lucrative because it's one of the last undeveloped pieces of land in the Twin Cities on the Beltline Highway, so we think we're in a pretty good position, but it fits very well with our goals for the city.
A proposed 244,000 square foot facility will house 500 employees when it opens within the next 2 years.
The business itself will face the intersection of the freeways over there, so it'll have its front door to Maple Grove.
City leaders are still pretty tight-lipped about what company this is, but they did tell me it's one already in the Twin Cities that's relocating and expanding.
It fits in very well with our goals to bring in jobs to the city of Maple Grove, not just jobs, but high-paying jobs.
And city officials say it could help bring more industry just like it to a fast-growing sector of the Twin Cities.
We're also next to Brooklyn Park and Plymouth, which have very robust economic development. It helps us as a region, but at the same time, there are businesses that we work with that are looking at the different cities, and so really have to remain competitive there as well.
In Maple Grove, Rusty Ray, CCX News.
Work will begin this summer on the site. The City Council will first consider the plan at Monday's meeting. The Plymouth Police Department was busy overnight making several arrests and taking dangerous guns and drugs off the street. Officers patrolling a local hotel came across a stolen car in the parking lot. 3 people inside the vehicle attempted to flee but were arrested. Later that night, officers making a routine traffic stop found illegal guns and drugs in the vehicle. These photos show what police seized. Officers arrested both of the occupants. Police say each is a convicted felon. A New Hope residential neighborhood hopes to move past a rental property issue. This week, the New Hope City Council wrapped up regulatory action by approving findings of fact related to rental property violations at a home in the 3900 block of Oregon Avenue North. That particular home had 3 recent incidents of disorderly behavior. In one instance, a person died of a suspected drug overdose. New Hope Council member John Elder says revoking a license is something the city takes very seriously.
The fact that these were acts of criminal behavior, and it's something that we need to, as a council, stand up for the residents in that area as well as across the city.
The tenants of the property must vacate the home by May 26th. Council action also prohibits the property owner from renting any property within the city for a period of 3 years. This month marks the 20th anniversary of the start of the Iraq War. Jason Malillo sat down with a local Iraq War veteran who reflected on the conflict and its impact on history.
These challenge coins, I got one from the Command Sergeant Major of the Multinational Forces Iraq, and the other one I got from General Petraeus.
Jeremy Malchow joined the military as a teenager at Osseo High School.
I already knew as a junior that I was not getting into college. So I went to basic training in between the summer of my junior year and senior year. This was my team.
3 decades later,
these were my people every day.
Malchow is still an Army reservist. During the Iraq War, Malchow spent parts of 5 years in and around Baghdad, leading military convoys.
Our job was to provide convoy security, and we would move people from various places on ground in Iraq, or as a personal security detail to move important people. We were also very good at, I think, finding IEDs before they detonated.
Iraq became a quagmire of civil war and insurgency after the U.S. invasion, but Malchow believes he did his job the best he could, and that a lot of his fellow soldiers made a difference.
I know that the soldiers that went there, who were able to connect and really able to affect small populations of people, really did some very helpful and great things.
Still, as a 30-year military man, Mao Chao acknowledges there's a divide between the powers that be and the soldiers on the ground.
I never served with any senator's children or any congressperson's children. The president's kids weren't there.
And he says maybe our leaders should think twice before sending young men and women into battle.
I'm not saying using our armed forces is wrong, but I think that the folks that are going to profit greatly should also be on the other side, the ones that are going to lose the most as well. It should be fair, and it's generally not.
In Osseo, Jason Malillo, CCX News.
Mao Chao estimates he led about 150 convoys during his time in Iraq. He says none was attacked or had to return fire. Unicorns have once again descended upon a popular Maple Grove cupcake shop and left something, shall we say, personal behind. Unicorn poop is now on the shelves at Nadia Cakes. The cupcake shop has continued its annual April Fool's tradition of selling the ever-popular treats. Customers flocked to Maple Grove on Wednesday to get their hands on the dessert, which only appear once a year. Over the next few days, they expect to sell up to 5,000 cupcakes.
We spend probably the first 2 to 3 months of the year planning for this event. We are looking for inspiration online, and we switch things and we change things. We have a lot of chefs who will go to a restaurant and get something for dinner and they go, I want to make this into a cake form, and it's very fun. Everybody gets to just kind of go wild and have a good time.
In addition to the unicorn poop, other unique flavors this year include cakes made to look like moldy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, cheeseburger whoopie pies, taco cookies, and fried chicken buckets. The new flavors are only available through April 1st.
The Gustavus Adolphus women's hockey team recently won the Division III National Championship, and a local woman played a big part in the Gusties title run. Jason Malillo has the story.
Being a national champion still hasn't fully sunk in for Lily Mortenson.
It's a really surreal feeling. It's still kind of indescribable. I don't think I'll ever be able to describe it.
But it did happen, and Mortenson was in the middle of it all. The Gustavus Adolphus forward scored her team's first goal in the final and then assisted on the championship-winning goal in triple overtime.
Score, Gusty!
2 nights before that, in the semifinals, she scored the OT game winner.
Here comes Mortenson shooting, score!
I'm just glad I was able to score that goal, put in for my team, who did a great job the entire game. Same thing with the championship game. Everything was kind of back and forth, and it just, the loose change was just right there. The puck was just sitting right there. So I feel like I kind of had to take advantage of it because the whole team, we were working really hard, and I'm just glad I was the one able to put the puck in the net.
Emerging as an impact player in her first season of college hockey, Mortenson credits her coaches and teammates for their help.
They're all great girls, and they pushed me to my limits. And they pushed me to my best. The whole team did.
Mortenson and all the Gusties also drew inspiration for their title run from Heather Olinger, a senior teammate who suffered a serious spinal injury.
One of the big things we were saying in the locker room, for the semifinal games and the championship game, we were like, we got to do this for Heather. Heather can't, go on the ice and play her heart out, but we can. So we really wanted to do that for her.
Lily Mortenson calls her hockey journey crazy. From a little girl learning the sport to starring at Benilde St. Margaret's and now winning a national title, it's been a great ride.
5-year-old Lily, right when I just started playing, she never thought I would have gotten to this point for sure. And that was her dream, and I'm so glad I could accomplish it.
Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
While the winter high school season wrapped up with the state boys basketball tournament, spring teams have been preparing for their seasons. Jay Wilcox has a preview of the Champlin Park softball team.
Expect to see a lot of new faces on the diamond for the Champlin Park softball team. It's a very young group, but with a lot of promise.
So far, I think it's gone pretty good. We have a lot of young talent, which has been really good, but also challenging in a way, because it's they're really new to our program.
I think we're going to have a really good and young team this year. We lost 8 seniors last year, so I think this year we're going to have a lot of new faces, but I think it's going to be a really good group of athletic girls.
We have a lot of potential, a lot of upside with a lot of these kids. They're going to be great. You know, as we go through, we're just going to kind of break it down and see how the chemistry melds for our team and see where we're at. You know, it's not going to be where we start. It's going to be kind of where we finish. That's what we're looking at this year.
Just 3 varsity regulars returned from a team that was 16-9 and placed third in Section 5-4A. Senior Emma Hewsome, who will play second base this spring, and sophomores Reese Remler, a pitcher and third baseman, and outfielder Ava Parent. Coach Brian Woodley says it may be the most athletic group he's had, and that can be put to good use.
You know, speed kills kind of a thing, and it's one of those situations where if we can get on the base paths and use that to our advantage, we have opportunities to be able to do a few things that maybe, you know, we haven't had to do haven't had the chance to do in the past because we've been more of a power hitting team.
As we approach the end of March with a fair amount of snow still on the ground, the Rebels and other teams have to wonder how much the early schedule will be impacted.
Yeah, I'm worried. Just because, like, senior season, I want to be outside as much as possible, but I have a feeling a lot of dome games this year.
I mean, if anything, games can just be pushed back or it can be put in a dome, but we'll make it work either way.
Many of the Rebels will be new to varsity softball, but they've enjoyed success on the way up. It'll be an interesting spring for an up-and-coming Champlin Park squad. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.